Hey guys, it's Miss Crompton here to share a story with you today all about your sense of smell. So, this week we are talking about your different senses. You have 5 senses. You have the sense of sight. Miss Beasley talked to you about that on Monday. You have the sense of smell that I'm going to talk to you about today. You have the sense of taste. Miss Weitzel's going to talk to you about that tomorrow. And then on Friday, you'll learn about your hearing. And then yesterday, you talked about your sense of touch with Mrs. Cates. So today we're going to talk about the sense of smell. So you use your nose to smell, and we're going to see how smelling works, how smelling is related to taste, how we smell, how animals smell, and how smelling can actually be helpful to you and help to keep you safe. So this book we're going to share today is called The Sense of Smell, and it's by Mary Shue. And we're going to learn how smells make your food taste better. They bring back some memories sometimes, and they even can keep you from danger. Now, this book is a book that's shared on Epic. So those of you who have access to Epic, this is an example of one of the books that you could find on your Epic account. So first of all, we've got this called a table of contents. Today we're going to be reading a nonfiction book. Nonfiction means it is real. If we have books that are fiction, they are stories that are fake and made up. Nonfiction stories are real and they teach us facts and information. And one text feature you will find in a nonfiction text is a table of contents, and that tells us where we can find different pieces of information within our story. So we look here, we can find out about smelling and tasting, and we look over here and find out that that's on page 14. Today, I'm going to just read it in order for you, but if you ever are using a nonfiction text and just need one piece of information, you can look at your table of contents to help you find that. Your sense of smell. Breathe in through your nose and sniff. What do you smell? Maybe you smell your dirty clothes. Ugh. Or food cooking in the kitchen. You're using your sense of smell. So sometimes those smells are not so great, but sometimes they are good smells. Smelling is one of your senses. Your other senses are taste or sight, hearing, touch, and taste. Your brain and your nose work together to smell. So how do you smell different scents? And down here it says, fun fact, people can smell about 3,000 to 10,000 scents. So you can smell 3,000 to 10,000 different things. That's a whole lot of different smells. How smelling works. It starts with tiny particles you can't see. For example, particles from a pot of soup float up into the air. When you breathe in, the particles move into your nose. They stick to the mucus inside of your nose. It's the stuff that's stuck on inside of your nose, and sometimes it comes out. Your nose has sensors. Sensors send a message about the particles. The message travels to your brain along thin threads of tissue called nerves. Your brain gets the message. Then your brain tells you about the smell. So the smell comes in here through the hole in your nose called your nostril. And when it goes in here, it's going to find these little sensors. These little sensors kind of look like little hairs that are like kind of dangling down inside of your nose. Now it's all inside of here, so it's tiny. But those little sensors will say, oh, that smells like pizza. And then it's going to send that message all the way up into your brain, and your brain will say, ooh, I smell pizza. Or it might smell something and say, ooh, that smells like garbage. And then it's going to send that same message up to your brain to tell you what you're smelling. And this little fun fact down here says, your sense of smell is not very good in the morning. You can smell things better later in the day. So if you wake up in the morning, you're kind of waking up, you can't see very good, sometimes you can't hear very good, and you also can't smell very good because your sense of smell doesn't work that great in the morning. Your brain can tell you about thousands of scents. Maybe the scent of freshly cut grass smells good to you. Onions and coffee might smell bad to you. So we might have different opinions on what we think smells good and what we think smells bad. So you might walk outside and smell grass and think, oh, that smells so fresh and clean and cut grass. You might smell onions and think, oh, those stink. You might smell coffee and say, oh, that smells terrible. Miss Crompton smells coffee and thinks, oh, that smells so great. So we have different opinions about how things smell, but you can distinguish between different smells whether you like them or not. Some scents can bring back memories. Perfume or flowers might remind you of your grandma. Turkey might make you think of Thanksgiving. So sometimes you have ideas in your head of different scents, and when you have smelled those things, it might make you think about a happy time. Smelling and tasting. Your sense of smell even helps you taste food. You breathe in and smell the food as you eat. So your sense of smell and your sense of taste with your tongue and your taste buds, they work together. So try this. Eat a piece of food, maybe a piece of pizza, maybe a piece of candy if somebody will let you have a little bite of candy. Then pinch your nose and eat the same food and see if it tastes a little bit different. It may not taste totally different, but it might taste a little bit different because you can't smell it, and smelling it helps you to taste it. This fun fact says some people can't smell at all. About 2 million people in the United States have no sense of smell. This problem is called anosmia. I'm not sure if that's how you pronounce it correct, but it's about your nose. You can't smell anything. Now, some people, like me, I don't smell things unless it's a really, really strong smell. I can smell them, but it has to be kind of strong for me to smell them. Some people have really good smellers, and they don't have to have very much of a scent at all for them to be able to smell it. Food also tastes dull or not as strong when you have a cold. So thick mucus, that stuff that gets in your nose sometimes it stuffs up your nose. And since you can't smell it as well, you won't be able to taste it as well. So the mucus that's in your nose makes it hard for those particles to get up into your nose to those sensors that are inside of your nose to tell your brain what it's smelling. Animals and smell. So we have noses. Animals also have noses. Their noses look a little different than ours, but they have the same general parts of it. Many animals, including these doggies, have better sense of smell than people. Dogs have millions more smell sensors than people. So those little tiny things inside of our nose, we have some of those, but dogs have millions more than we have. Dogs use their noses to sniff out food and other dogs. Some dogs use their sense of smell to help find missing people. So sometimes if there's a person who's missing, they'll give the doggie a piece of their clothes and say, here, go smell this piece of clothes. And then the doggie can sniff around and find the person. So doggies, their good sense of smell makes them good helpers. Now you also have seen, I'm sure, doggies sniff you or sniff other doggies when they are first meeting. That's how they get to know somebody or get to know another animal. Smelling danger. So sometimes your sense of smell can help to keep you safe from dangerous situations. Smelling is important. It can help you sense danger. The smell of rotten food keeps you from eating it. Or you can know that a fire is nearby when you smell smoke. So imagine you're getting ready to go drink a big glass of milk. You poured your glass of milk, didn't pay attention to it, and you went to go drink it, and all of a sudden your nose says, ooh, that doesn't smell very good. You might realize that maybe your milk was expired, it was old, it wasn't good anymore, and you shouldn't eat it. Maybe you're getting ready to go eat a cookie, and you pick up your cookie, and you smell that cookie has a little peanutty smell, and you might be allergic to peanuts, and that little smell of peanut butter might help you prevent you from eating that cookie that could be dangerous to you. Or you might be laying in your bed one night and you sniff the air as you're going to sleep and you're like, oh, it smells kind of like something's burning. So you go say, hey, Mom, something smells like it's burning downstairs. Mom might come downstairs and check it out and realize that she left the stove on and it was just burning a little bit. Maybe it wasn't on fire. But if there is a fire nearby and your nose can smell it, it can help to keep you safe and help you escape from that fire. So our sense of smell is important and can help keep us safe. Your sense of smell tells you about your surroundings. Sniff around. What scents do you smell? And then fun fact down here says our sense of smell gets worse as we get older. So older people may not have as strong of a sense of smell as you young people have. All right, and that is the end of our story. We have a glossary here. Glossary tells us about important words we saw. So we talked about that word mucus, which is the slippery stuff that's inside of your nose and your mouth and your throat that protects it, but also catches your food particles, the smells. We have the nerves that carry the signal from your two little receptors or your little sensors to your brain to tell your brain what you're smelling. A particle is just a little tiny piece of something. The scent is the smell of something. And then your sensor is the parts of your body that sends messages. So you have those little sensors here that then send the message up to your brain. All right, and that is the end of our story today. So what we're going to be doing today is we are going to be doing a Nearpod lesson. So I made a Nearpod for you guys to do. And in that Nearpod lesson, you're just going to be circling some things that you can smell. You're going to be looking at some different things that you can smell. But the fun part about that Nearpod today is you're going to be taking some pictures. So there's a video on your Canvas page that shows you how to take how to upload a picture into your Nearpod account. So when we're doing the Nearpod lesson, you're going to push a little blue button and then it's going to tell you to either take a picture or to add a picture that you've already taken. So what I want you to do is go around your house or wherever you are right now, go ahead and think in your brain, what are some things, what's one thing that I like to smell and what's one thing that I don't really like the smell of? That may be different for different people. Some people don't like the smell of coffee. I do like the smell of coffee. Some people don't like the smell of onions. Some people do like the smell of onions. So think of two things, one thing that you like to smell and one thing that you don't necessarily like the smell of. And with your iPad, I want you to take a picture of those two things so that when it comes time to do your Nearpod lesson, all you have to do is push the button that is blue, then push the little button that says Photo Library, and you'll see on the next video that I show you exactly how to do that on your iPad. So take those two pictures, do your Nearpod lesson, and I can't wait to see the different things that you guys like to smell and also maybe some of those things that you don't like to smell. I'll talk to you guys soon.